guys, it's Kelly, and today I want to share with you my reading plans for November. And before I start, let me just say if I sound a little off, everyone in my household has a cold, so mine is kind of in the throat time, the sore throat time right now. I just had a cough drop, so hopefully I can get through this whole thing without losing my voice. But this is not exactly a TBR video for November because as a mood reader, I don't always follow a very strict TBR, so this actually has a lot of options. I have way too many books. If you were to see this stack of books next to me, you would think that November is going to be 90 days long. Obviously, November is just going to last forever. But I have some things that I'm planning, some buddy reads and some readathons that I'm participating in, and then just some books I wanted to read, so I thought I'd just share with you kind of what's coming up. So first of all, I set myself up with a lot of buddy reads this month. It just happened that way, and I have 5 books that I am buddy reading. So these are definitely going to happen because I've already agreed to read these together with other people. And the first one is The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner, and this is the first in, I think, what is a quartet. And I'm buddy reading this with Alex from Alex Black, and I'll link anybody that I mention, I will link down below their channels. And I think this is a fantasy. I don't know a lot, but I've heard that the rest of the books in this series, I think it's the Queen of Atolia and King of Atolia, stuff like that, is this series, and I've heard that the rest of them are really fantastic, and this one's the shortest in the series, so I just wanted to get it finished so I can get to the rest of the series. And then the next one I'm buddy reading is City of Ghosts by VE Schwab, and I'm buddy reading this with Elizabeth from Literarylizzzy. And this is supposed to be kind of a middle grade ghost story kind of thing. I don't know a lot about it. I've seen it on a lot of channels, but I try not to pay too much attention if I know I'm going to read a book, so I don't get all the details. I just know that this girl, I think, can talk to ghosts. So that'll be interesting. And it's pretty short too, so that should be a quick buddy read. And the next 3 I am all doing with Merphy from Merphy Napier, and she has now set up this group through her Patreon where we get to vote on books that we buddy read together as all of her Patreons. So if you're interested, I will link the video down below that kind of gives her information about her Patreon members. And we're doing 3 books together this month. One is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, and this is a mystery thriller type of book. And then we are also buddy reading Vicious by VE Schwab, and this is a fantasy, and I think it's about kind of both characters being gray characters morally and stuff like that, that they used to be friends and now they're enemies. Once again, I didn't pay a lot of attention. These are really popular books, so you would think I would know what they're about, but I tend not to pay too close attention because then it kind of gives away too much of the plot if I pay too much attention to people when they describe it. And then the other one is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and this is another one that I never hear people fully give a summary of the plot of this one. Everybody just says it's excellent, so since we're doing it as a buddy read, I guess I'll get to it. So those are all my buddy reads, and then I have, like I said, 2 readathons I'm going to do. And the first one is NFN 2018, which stands for Nonfiction November. But the group that is doing this decided to use the abbreviation because there already is a Nonfiction November being hosted. So this one is hosted by several people, and sorry, off the top of my head right now, I don't remember all of the hosts, but I heard about it through Alex from Alex Black and Justin from Triumphal Reads. I'll link all of the hosts down below so that you can watch all their announcement videos if you want to participate. And this readathon is just to read nonfiction books in November, and their goal was for us to read at least 4 books and to not DNF any of them. And they also had a bunch of prompts, but I didn't really pay too close of attention to the prompts. I just picked the 4 nonfiction books I really want to read this month, and I actually have 5. But one kind of fits into the other readathon, so technically I could decide not to read one of these because I have 5 total. One is A Long Way Home by Saroo, Brierley, and I've talked about this before because I am partway through already, and this is about a boy who's separated from his family in India and is adopted in Tasmania, and then when he's an adult he tries to find his way back to his family in India. And then I have As You Wish by Cary Elwes, which is kind of a memoir about his time filming The Princess Bride. Then I have The Truth Commission by Susan Juby. This is narrative nonfiction, so it's a little more like written kind of like a story, but it is still nonfiction. And I'm not sure from the description exactly what it's about. I think it's about some students at an academy of arts, but I heard somebody recommend it, so I just picked it up, and I figured since it's narrative nonfiction, it'll probably read pretty quickly. And then another one is The Lightless Sky by Gulwali, Passarlay, and this is about a boy who is a refugee and has to leave his country and go, I think he goes to England. I think he's leaving Afghanistan and goes to England when he's like 12. And I've heard that this is a really readable story, and I've wanted to read more about the refugee crisis and stuff like that. So those are my 4 that are specifically for NFN 2018. And then the other one fits into my other readathon, which is the Lalathon, which if you follow BooksandLala, her channel, she kind of jokingly is doing a readathon that's based on all of her favorite books. I guess she kind of was having a joke about it on Twitter, and all of her subscribers were like, yes, you should do that. And so she is hosting from the November 1st through 9th a readathon where we just read all of her favorite books. And so what I did was I looked at the books I own and books I wanted to read, and if they were on her list of her top favorite books, I put them on my TBR for November. And there are way too many. There are 6, so I don't think I'm going to get to them all, but this way it gives me a little chance to mood read, and probably will finish at least 3 of these in this pile. And one of them is a nonfiction, so it could go towards nonfiction November, and it's Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer, which is about a Mount Everest disaster. And then there's I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, which is about, I think, 2 twins that used to be really close, but then something happens and they're no longer close anymore, and it takes place during both timelines. Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty, and is that her? Yeah. And this is like a domestic thriller, which had a show come out of it, and I just have never gotten around to reading it. Radio Silence by Oseman. This is going around like everywhere, and it sounds like it's a good book with a lot of diversity and friendships and all that. More Than This by Patrick Ness, and actually I ran out of books to read in my October TBR, so I already started this and I'm halfway through, and I just started it yesterday, so this is a very absorbing book. So I'll definitely have this one finished probably on November 1st. And this is kind of hard to explain because it is very mysterious. Even halfway through, I don't even know fully what the book is about, so, but it's very engrossing. And the last one is The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, and this is a thriller. And this one is also for another project I'm doing. I'm doing a project that you'll see soon, a video about the books that are the lowest rated on Goodreads that were on my list of books. And so that's one of the ones, so it's rated low on Goodreads, and same as The Perfect Nanny. This is also part of that project that I'm working on. These are the last 2 books I have to read for that video. And this is a thriller as well. And then I just have a small stack of books that are things that I wanted to get to soon, so I'm just putting them on my November TBR because I don't already have enough things to read. Like I said, it's going to be a 90-day month. We're going to get it all done. And the first is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I am currently reading the first book, so I figure I'll just continue when I'm done with that. Then I have The Mad Apprentice by Django Wexler. This is the second book in the Forbidden Library series. It's a middle grade fantasy. I read the first one a couple months ago and just want to continue pretty soon. And I'm in the mood for like middle grade fantasy, as you will see, because I have another one. And that is Ferris by Gail Carson Levine. And this has been recommended to me so many times by other booktubers like Charlie Trough and Kara from Wild Book Garden. And so I finally bought it, and this is the month I really want to get to it. And then I have one more middle grade fantasy, and it's called Awaiting Dawn, the story of Evelyn. And these 2 authors sent me this book for a honest review, so this is my first like book that I get to like be given for a review, so I'm excited to get to this one. And then the last 2 are When We Collided by Emery Lord. I have really loved the last couple books I've read by her, so I just thought I would put a contemporary in the mix because there wasn't that many. And then the last one is The Woman in the Water by Charles Finch. This was on my video that I did for my 5-star predictions, so I just feel like I'm in the mood for a little like British mystery. These take place in the 1800s, and sometimes I just want like a little cozy mystery. So those are all my reading plans. I'm not going to get all of that done, but I do read quite a bit of books in a month, so I feel like I can at least get maybe 3/4 of those done. So if you have read any of these books and want to tell me something that is a priority and something that you really enjoyed, or if there's something that you are looking forward to me reviewing, please leave a comment down below. All right, you guys have a great November. Bye.